Yo, what is up, everybody? It's your boy Soto here with the Autumn Windbags, back twice in one day with another one just for you. Oh, rough day for your boy today, man. I'll tell you right now. I am the late night action. It's a little late. Thank you for coming along for the ride with me. I went to the SC game, you know, went to SC game, private suite, no big deal. So the beer was flowing like wine, and the signature cocktails were flowing like beer. And oh my God, bro. I may have drank a little bit too much, but I got home safe. Don't drink and drive. I didn't. I was able to watch. We have TVs in the suite, so I was able to watch the Raider game, and I have some thoughts. We did lose the game, 31-16 to the dreaded Cowboys in the Cholo Bowl, and yeah, Aiden O'Connell started, played the majority of the game, had an okay game. He wasn't playing really with anybody out there. He was playing. I'm not going to make any excuses. It was his roughest game. Uh, what you saw out there were players who were looking to get more experience and also players who were looking to make the roster. I don't know that we had necessarily a lot of starters playing today, if any. There were some players that are going to make the roster out there playing the game. So we'll get into that in a second. Before we go any further, I want to make sure everyone knows, like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your haters, tell your mamas, tell any combination of the three about your boys. We grow when you grow. If that makes sense. All right. Now on to the good stuff. So, pretty sluggish performance today. The offense was rough. You can tell that it wasn't Josh McDaniels calling the plays today. It was Mick Lombardi, I believe, was calling the plays. But honestly, you still have to execute what's called, right? And we did have some execution issues. It is what it is. One thing we have to take a look at is the players that were kind of on the bubble or younger players that are looking to get, like Tyree Wilson saw his first action. Didn't see a lot of snaps. Saw, a couple of series, right? About 14-ish, 15 snaps, something like that. His awareness, his pass rushing awareness is going to get better. He's going to get more tools as a pass rusher as he is able to refine his craft. I think he spent so much time getting himself healthy that he didn't have a chance to really work on any of the nuances of the position. Similar to like fighting, right? If you get out of shape in between fights where you're spending most of your training camp getting in shape, you're not really using that time to get any better. You're just spending most of your energy trying to lose weight and get in shape for your fight. And similar to what Tyree Wilson went through this offseason, he didn't really use this time to work on his game and get better with the nuances, get pass rushing moves and stuff like that, setting himself up for success because he was busy rehabbing himself and getting himself healthy. He had a bull rush where if he had a little bit more awareness, maybe 3 or 4 games down the line, that would have been an easy sack for him. He picked up that tackle and he ran him right into the quarterback. And the quarterback just ran around him because Tyree Wilson didn't notice that he had the quarterback right there. But the tools are there. Can he be a number one rusher this season? No, he doesn't have the tools. He doesn't have quite all the moves set just yet. He does have the motor. He does have the strength. He does have the freakish size and ability. He needs to get some of the nuance, some of the technique. That'll come as the year comes along when he's not solely focused on getting healthy, when he can work on his game. So I'm not worried about him so much. I think he showed stuff that was the reason why he was one of the more highly rated defenders coming out of in this year's draft, and had probably one of the higher ceilings in the draft overall. because of his raw ability. Getting better coaching, getting some tips from his teammates like Crosby and Jones, and some of the other players that'll help him out. Having him pass rush from the inside, just if you could collapse a pocket from the inside and give the quarterback nowhere to run, it's going to be a big tool, a big help for us. He played both with his hands in the dirt and his hands outside, more of an outside linebacker role, which is what we had talked about already. He was going to play something like that. But overall, honestly, it was a pretty sluggish performance. It was a pretty sluggish performance today. Really not the level of, I wouldn't say effort, but just the level of pop that we're used to seeing from this team the first two games. Maybe because a couple of these guys thought they were, look, if any of these guys thought that they were a shoe-in to make this team and they just could coast the last game, they are sorely mistaken. That's my one takeaway that's a little bit disappointing for me, is the fact that we didn't really show that pop that we normally have. Dave R. with an interesting question here. Are the Raiders not playing McClendon Curtis in order to limit his exposure so they can stash him on the practice squad? It's probably more than likely. I think Wagner's going to be a more likely fit as a developmental lineman than the Thayer Munford role last year, where Thayer Munford was more of a developmental lineman that was able to play some plays. And then it's going to be Dalton Wagner this year. And there's really only room in your squad for one developmental lineman. So yeah, I think they're trying, because look, if any of these teams have to pick up McClendon Curtis, he's going to be on the 53-man roster. I highly doubt that's going to happen. So developmental offensive linemen are out there. I don't know that he's shown enough to be that coveted by other teams. So I think that McClendon Curtis is going to stick around with us on the practice squad. It's a good question, though. Farva showed that he's human, right? He didn't have a poor game, but he had, relatively average-ish game. 17 for 26 for 178. No touches, no picks, no sacks. It didn't seem like he really got into a rhythm. That may have been due to someone else calling the plays and not really attacking the defenses the way they should have. But again, these are the types of games where you give either players who are looking to transition to coaching after football, or coaches who don't have as much experience doing it. You let them call the plays the last preseason game, because ultimately the score doesn't matter. You're looking at the position battles and development of young players. That's what you look for in the last game of the preseason. Let's see here. Big games. Damian Williams. I think Damian Williams earned himself a job, if not with us, with another team that maybe their running back group isn't as deep. He had 6 carries for 54 yards, 24-yard touchdown included in that. So great job there. Even he had 9 yards of carry, but even if you take away the long run of 24 yards, it was still 5 carries for 30 yards, which is 6 yards a pop, which is a great job. I don't know what it was, but Zamir White looked the worst he's looked in the preseason today. I don't know whether he was kind of maybe he saw the writing on the wall when Josh Jacobs got signed, and he's like, oh, well, there go my touches. And yeah, honestly, there go his touches, right? If you have Josh Jacobs on your team for another season, 1 year left, I mean, yeah, you're going to use him a lot. So I don't know what it was, man. That this was his time to really show out and show what he can do, and he really didn't play very well. Again, he's not playing with starting offensive linemen, and it does make a big difference, but still, it's a little bit rough. The one JPTV, same old Raiders. Cornerbacks not locking down. I saw a couple potential INTs. Yes, but you have to realize that not a lot of these players are going to make the roster, especially in the secondary. There's a lot of guys out there that are auditioning for other teams. It's going to be tough, man. Look, last year, McDaniels and Ziegler said they really liked like 48 players on the team. Like they really were comfortable. They really, really liked about 48 players. That's a problem when you have to pick 53. That means 5 of the guys you're really not that jazzed about. This year, he says he's really pumped up about 58 to 60 of the guys, which is a good problem to have because then you pick the best of the best, right? And hopefully you can stash some of the guys in the practice squad, about 16 guys in the practice squad. So honestly, would I have liked the Raiders to have won the game? Sure. But again, looking at this game for what it actually is, you're playing young players who you want to get experience, and you're playing players that are in position battles or players that you know you're going to cut, but you want to get them exposure. Maybe they'll hang on to a team after they pass waivers and get put onto another practice squad. But yeah, that's really what it is. Because look, you cut down about 30 players a team, right? On this cut down. You cut down about 30, 35 players, 32 teams. That's 1,000, 1,100 players. 16 players, like it said in the telecast, 16 players per team get to go on the practice squad. That's about 500 and change players. So about half the players that are going to be cut are going to be brought back to teams on the practice squad. That leaves about 500 and change players who are going to be out on the street, either looking to hang on, keep in shape and hang on, wait for injuries, or they're going to jump onto, get back into training for one of the maybe spring, winter, or spring, summer type leagues like the XFL or the USFL. But honestly, I saw a lot of what I was looking for. I wanted to see what Aiden O'Connell looked like when things weren't going his way. And even though he wasn't completing all the passes that he wanted to, even though a lot of the throws were being more contested, he didn't look rattled. He didn't look like he was out of sorts. He looked like he was still in the game, and he was still making some pretty damn good passes. Along the offensive line, I mean, they didn't give up any sacks, but it didn't look all that great. Talked about Zamir White, how it was, kind of a shame about how poorly he did in this game. This should have been a game for him to really kind of show what he can do. One thing that I was really disappointed in, and I was looking for a little bit more juice, a little bit more pop, was our defensive line. Now, granted, Greer, the quarterback for the Cowboys, I wouldn't say he's a super mobile quarterback, but he can move. He has the ability to run around and move. And he's able to do pretty much a lot of what he wanted to do. If he didn't have an open lane right away, he just moved around. He scrambled outside the pocket to make throws. He had an excellent game, man. He 29 of 35, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked once, 122 rating. And the bulk of that, it's really easy to say, oh, the same old Raiders, terrible secondary and this and that. He had almost no pressure on him. We didn't get any pressure on the quarterback. And I'm telling you right now, any team in the NFL, if they don't get pressure on the quarterback, they give the quarterback that much time to throw the ball, he's going to have games like this. This is why it's supremely important for us to be able to put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. If you thought this defense was a lot further along than it was, this gives you kind of a wake-up call. Our defensive line needs to be able to disrupt the opposing quarterback in order for us to be able to have a chance to be just an average defense. What did I say earlier today? I can see us with a good pressure on the quarterback, an opportunistic back line. I can see us being 15 to 20 defense. As long as we're opportunistic and taking control of those turnovers, we're able to set the tone up front without blitzing. We're able to do all that stuff. That stuff's going to help us out a lot, but we have to be able to put pressure on the opposing quarterback. Week 1, we're going to face a quarterback who is mobile, who scrambles more so to throw the ball than to run. But he can run. I mean, he was able to run in the past. We'll see how that works out. Russell Wilson's lost a little bit of weight, got in a little better shape. They're hoping that that'll help him, but regardless of that, we still didn't be able to put him on his ass. Drake Thomas made him a really good showing for himself. 7 total tackles, 4 solo. Duke Shelley had 6 tackles, 5 solo. Jaquan Johnson had 6 tackles. Amik Robertson had 5 tackles. Nesta Jade Silvera had 5 tackles at the defensive tackle spot. Look, I don't know if probably Duke Shelley will make the team. I don't know if Drake Thomas will make the team. I don't think Jaquan Johnson or Amik Robertson. Maybe Nesta Jade Silvera will make the team, maybe not. I'm pretty sure Isaiah Polamalu, Amari Burney will make the team. Jaden Grant probably won't. Tarlis probably won't. Masterson will. Mauga won't. Bryce Cosby won't. David Long Jr. may or may not. Probably not. Tyler Hall probably won't. Neil Farrow Jr. will. I mean, look, it's a good problem to have, and it's a good problem to be like, wow, we let that guy go. As long as you choose the right guys to keep. Because, again, Josh McDaniel said last year he liked about 48 of his players. This year he likes about 58 of his players, which means only being able to carry 53. You're going to cut some guys you really like. But, again, it's a numbers game, and it's what's the most important to build a roster, not just an individual person and individual players, right? All right, guys. So, yeah, as you see on the ticker, we lost this evening, the third game of the preseason, 16-31 in the Cholo Bowl. It was a rough night for our defense. Not only did we give up a lot of passing yards, 305 passing yards, we gave up 153 rushing yards. Look, the Cowboys ran a lot of plays, man. They ran over 70 plays. 35 passes, 35 rushes, plus, there's penalty plays and stuff like that, special teams plays. They ran a lot of plays. And they gave up 4.4 yards per carry isn't terrible, but man, if you let the quarterback Will Grier just look like an absolute beast against you, he threw for 2, he ran for 2. It's like, come on, guys, this guy's not a super do all quarterback. Now, granted, we didn't have starters out on the field on our end. We were giving a lot of guys that maybe wouldn't have gotten a chance to play otherwise, a chance to play, to put some play on film, on tape, for some other teams out there. But, man, you still have to have a standard of play, and I don't know that we reached that standard of play this evening defensively. Boyd, our run defense in preseason was lacking. Hopefully they turn it around. Again, it's not an exact scale, right? Where, okay, well, those were our backup defenders, were very poor against the run. Our starting defenders are better than our backups, but they're still going to be poor against. No, it doesn't work that way. Some of the starters are so much better than the backups. They're going to fill a lot of those deficiencies, right? So what we saw here was a lot of backups and a lot of guys that aren't going to be on the team that are, I guess, thank for the comment. They're not going to make the team. So, again, I wouldn't put too much into what was going on. I think I'm more concerned with the pop, the juice that the defense showed, or the lack of pop and juice the defense showed. One of the huge things that we saw earlier today was the signing of Josh Jacobs. Make no mistake about it. I don't know that RJ and I ever claimed that we didn't need Josh Jacobs to be our best. I don't think that we ever said that he wasn't a good quarterback or even a great, running back or even a great running back. He definitely makes us better. I don't know that we can appreciate how much better he is than the backups that we have, considering the decline in the play of Zamir White. I think one of his better games was, I mean, he got more touches in the first game. It just it's a little bit concerning to see him rush 3 times for 3 yards, catch 1 pass for 4 yards. Not a lot of production out there for Zamir White. You have Sincere McCormick with 5 carries for 27 yards. Pretty damn good. Damian Williams, 6 carries, 54 yards. Pretty damn good, right? So it's going to be a really difficult thing. Josh Jacobs is going to make the team at running back. Zamir White being, a second-year player and a high round draft pick in the 4th round, he's going to make the team. Jakob Johnson is going to make the team as the only fullback. There's 3 right there. So there's potentially only 3 spots behind that. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be a tough call. I know that I know Amir Abdullah is probably going to make the squad. You have let's see, Jacobs, Amir, Jakob, Amir Abdullah, Brandon Bolden probably will make the team, and one more guy. Maybe Damian Williams. I think Damian Williams showed us a lot. Showed a lot of pop. Showed a lot of juice. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Things are going to shake out the next couple days or so as far as who's going to make the squad and who's going to be signed on to the practice squad once they pass waivers. But the deal is, guys, here's the deal, brothers. We just have to have a little bit more confidence in what we're doing as a regime, as a team, because honestly, a lot of the stuff that a lot of people were complaining about is not an issue anymore, right? Raider Kojo 916. What's up, Soto? AO4 tried to force passes tonight and looked pedestrian, and our run defense was straight shit, but you can't expect 3 and 4 stringers to play well. I mean, you can't expect them to make a bunch of plays, but you can expect them to play with more effort. I think that the effort was the bigger issue. Now, as far as AO4 trying to force passes, I don't know that the schemes and the plays that were drawn up were really that great against the defenses that were played. That makes a big difference. What kind of plays are called? Now, again, the quarterback still has to execute the plays called. I'm not absolving him from that. But you have a different play caller in Mick Lombardi, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that Mick Lombardi called plays for the game today. So one of the deals that we're looking at here is moving forward, who gives us the best chance to create the best team? That's going to be a big question moving forward. One thing that I feel very encouraged about was the fact that what our first round pick, Tyree Wilson, does well, he was still able to do well in this game. He was able to bull rush. He was able to overpower offensive linemen. He needs a little bit better awareness. He missed out on a sack, and also a little bit quicker off the snap because I think he got caught out of position a couple times on some running plays. So what I'm more focused on here is what we're going to do moving forward roster-wise. That should come up in a few days. Then we have, 2 weeks of practice going until we play Denver on the 10th. I like our chances, man. I think that our team is headed in the right direction. I think the starters and the real guys on our squad that are going to log a lot of snaps are primed and ready to rock. I think tomorrow we start putting in game planning for things. It's going to be a little bit different because we can't game plan from last year. We have to look a couple years into the past with Sean Payton and his offense with the Saints. Maybe look at some stuff that he did more with I forgot that dude's name, the tight end that he played at quarterback sometimes, because he's more of a mobile quarterback like Russell Wilson. Maybe, and we haven't seen him last year. He tried to be a little bit more less mobile, but we'll see how that works, man. Again, Preseason game number 3, the bad guys lose 16 to the Cowboys 31. Again, I'm not super worried about the score. What I am kind of bummed about is the effort, especially on the defensive line. It didn't show that there was a lot of juice, a lot of pop in the defensive line. Our defensive line has to show out, has to ball out for our defense to have a chance to be at least respectable. If our defensive line does not show out, then our defense is going to be a poor defense again. We have to be led by our defensive line and by our defensive captain, which is Max Crosby, another leader on the defense, which is Chandler Jones, and the promising rookie and Tyree Wilson. If you guys join me a little bit late, I am not concerned about Tyree Wilson because he spent a lot of this offseason, a lot of this training camp getting himself healthy, not necessarily working on his pass rushing moves, his pass rushing technique. I say get out there and do what you do well. Once you do that, we'll start teaching you moves off of what you do well, some spin moves, some shuck moves, stuff like that, some rip throughs to be able to kind of keep the offensive lineman off balance. If you're just going to use a bull rush, being an interior defensive lineman, like a 4-eye technique on passing downs would be amazing because you can grab that guard and you can shove him right back into the face of the quarterback without even have to beat the guy. So it's great things coming on in the future, I feel. Guys, thank you very much, man. That's my time for tonight. I just wanted to hop on here really quick, even after I was at the game, getting a little drink on, and just tell you some of the thoughts I had about the game, about a couple of the players that I see going forward. A little bit bummed out about the effort from the defense, especially the defensive line. A lot of close cuts, man. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. I think we should make ourselves expecting to have these types of cuts when we have a more competent front office to be able to get a more diverse and talented group of players, that we're not so top heavy where we have a lot of competition across both sides of the ball. All right, guys. Yeah, I don't see any other comments here. Appreciate you. Make sure, guys, to like, comment, and subscribe. Our shop is open. Okay, if you want to support the Windbags, please look at the link in the description. Check it out. We have some merch available for you to purchase. Right now, it's just the Autumn Windbags logo with RJ and my ugly mug on it. But you can get that on a gang of shit. You can get it on t-shirts and hoodies, on hats. You can get it on coffee mugs. You can get it on chef's aprons. You can get it on all kinds of stuff. Go out there and support your boys, man. And until next time, everybody, peace.